good news. I've actually figured out how to do that last bit that we couldn't do in part 1. And since there's like 37 people who have watched the video, which is like, why? But also, it's kind of cool. I feel it is now my duty to sort of finish what I started. If you haven't watched part 1, I'll link it in the description. But yeah, let's go. So, well, before I start actually, here's the disclaimer again. Still not a math person. I could still be wrong. Like, you know, I'm not a teacher or anything like that. I'm just communicating this information basically that I have. It might be right, it might be wrong. Don't take it as gospel. Previously, we worked out the subset takeaway game here. Oh, we kind of covered it, I won't go over it again, but they're the rules, you can pause it. So we worked out how player 2 can always win subset takeaway when E has a cardinality of 2 and when E has a cardinality of 3. But what about when E has a cardinality of 4? Because that's kind of the roadblock that I ran into. Luckily, I believe I have it. So, come with me and we will head all the way over here. Here is E with a cardinality of 4. First covering the case where, well, I should actually point out too. So, we've covered case 1 and 2. So, case 1 is when player 1 picks a subset of E with 3, with a cardinality of 3. And then case 2 is when player 1 picks a subset of E with a cardinality of 1. It's basically the same result. It's kind of just inverts player 1 and player 3's move. Not player 3, there's no player 3. It basically inverts player 1 and player 2's move, I should say. So, there you go. Have a look at that. It's in the first video. Go and watch it. And now, we'll cover the final case, effectively. So, what do we do when player 1 does something like this, where they pick a subset with a cardinality of 2? Well, effectively, you basically have to mimic the cardinality that your opponent picks every single time. So they've picked a cardinality of 2 there with 1 and 2. Player 2 needs to pick the other set that's possible. Basically, the relative complement of E needs to be picked. So don't pick anything that has like 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 or something like that. So player 2 will pick 3 and 4 if they want to be guaranteed a path to victory. And then there are kind of 2 paths that can be headed down here. So one, player 1 picks set with card equal 1. We'll do card will be short for cardinality in this little world here. So there you go. So player 2, not player 2, the other option is that player 2 picks another subset of E with card 2. So basically, player 1 could technically make a set of 1 and 4 or 2 and 3 here. Let's cover case number 1 here because it's a lot easier. Case 1 of case 3, don't get too confused. So let's say player 1 picks 1. Well then, all player 2 has to do is pick 2. And then the only one that's left, the only elements that can be picked are 3 or 4. So effectively, it's equivalent to a game where the cardinality of E is 2. And since player 1's starting, player 1 picks 3, player 2 picks 4, and player 1 loses because they can't move, because there's nothing left that they can do, since everything is now a superset of like what's been picked here. So there you go. Now the other option is a little bit harder, but still manageable. So option 2 is player 2 picks another subset of E with a cardinality of 2. So we can still, the possible subsets that we can have apart from what's there, we could have not 1 and 2, 1 and 3. We could have 2 and 4. We could have 2 and 3. And we can have 1 and 4. Yeah, so let's say player 1 picks 1 and 3. Then all player 2 has to do is basically choose another one of these 2 number subsets. So let's say player 2 then picks 2 and 4. Now, we once again reach a point where these options exist again. So player 1 can pick a set with a cardinality of 1, or player 2 picks another subset of, not player 2, sorry, that should have been player 1 the whole time. Or player 1 picks another subset of E with a cardinality of 2. So basically at any point, player 1 could pick a set with a cardinality of 1, in which case the game kind of carries out the same way. Like as I showed before, player 1 could pick 1, and then player 2 could pick 2, and then only 3 and 4 are left, and then it's equivalent to a game where the cardinality is 2. So, player 2 can always win. But of course, if case 2 happens for one more cycle, we'll demonstrate what happens there. So that set's gone and that set's gone. So player 1, let's say they pick 2 and 3. And then player 2 needs to pick 1 and 4. Basically, player 2's got to always copy the cardinality, the subset cardinality that player 1 has picked in every single instance of a game where 4 elements are in the set of E, or E has a cardinality of 4, I should say. So now what happens here, all the possible subsets of E that are legal in the game at the moment have been picked. So what happens here? Well, basically, since we can only pick single elements now, it's the same thing as a game, or 2 games I should say, of when E is a cardinality of 2. So let's say player 1 picks 1, all player 2 has to do is, well, they can pick anything, but I'll go with 3. That'll be a bit of fun. And then the only ones left now, 2 and 4. So player 1 picks 2, player 2 picks 4. And now there's no more moves, and player 2 made the last move, so player 1 lose, player 2 win. So yeah, over the course of these videos, we've basically proved that you can always win with E being cardinality of 2, and by we I mean I didn't really prove that, it was already written here, but we've also shown that you can always win, player 2 can always win, I should say, when E's cardinality is 3, and when E's cardinality is 4. And even according to this document, it even says, with increasing patience, the reader may enjoy verifying, I don't know about enjoy, but may enjoy verifying that when A has fewer than 6 elements, the game is a second player win. However, I'm not required to do that, so I'm not going to. But yeah, if you do want to work out these upper ones, basically my number 1 tip is to try, is to basically assume that, like, if you've proved all of these previous cardinalities, so let's say you've proved I've got the highlighter again. If you've proved that E having a cardinality of 2 guarantees a win for player 2, and what we did with E having a cardinality of 3 is turn it into a game of E with a cardinality of 2. And since this one wins, then this one also wins. And then with E being equal to 4, its cardinality that is, we've basically turned it into multiple games of E with a cardinality of 2. So with higher cardinalities, I'm only assuming this, I haven't actually figured it out, so let's say we do E equals 5. If you can force a situation where it turns into the equivalent of a previous game, then you should be good in proving player 2 can win. But also keep in mind this. So let's say E is, what am I trying to do? Oh yeah. So let's say E is 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's a number we haven't seen yet, 5. You can, in theory, like, player 2, like, let's say player 1 picks, like, 1 or something. Like, it's still legal to pick the entire set of 4, or an entire subset containing 4, if that makes any sense. Whereas if E only had a cardinality of 4, you couldn't pick all 4 of them. So that's like something to think about. Don't know why I did 2, 3, 4, and 1. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm done. I'm just yapping at this point. So hopefully something helped you. Yeah, goodbye.